We are going to spend a little time talking about fear. Does that instill a little bit of fear inside your own body when I said that? Um, Maybe or maybe not. It kind of depends on your perspective and your beliefs around your own fear. What I want to share with you is a little bit of information that I hope you find useful from my history as a psychologist. I have worked with hundreds of people who have been dealing with anxiety. Anxiety is a mental health disorder that is based on fear. It's the fear of the future, it's fear of unknown, it's a fear of the worst case scenario. It can be fears around a lot of things. But the hallmark is that there is fear, and then the fear in turn cripples one's behavior and impacts their ability to live well and to be functional with the family, at school, at work, kind of whatever the scenario or whatever the environment is. So, do you know, if we boil down all of the best treatments for anxiety, if we boil it down to one strategy or one idea for treatment, do you know what that one thing is? That one single aspect of treatment that helps a person overcome their anxiety or their fear is exposure. That's it. It's that simple, and it's that hard. It's simple because exposure is simply putting yourself in the position of facing that fear and recognizing that the fear that you're experiencing is far worse than the actual event. And so it's taking an emotionally charged situation, injecting some logic into it in a very experiential way. That is one of the most researched and most effective strategies for reducing or eliminating anxiety and fear. It's exposure. Okay. So I want you to hang on to that, and I want you to hang on to that for the rest of your life. Anytime that you experience fear that is impacting your ability to get what you want, to move towards your desires and your goals, I want you to recognize that just thinking about it is not probably going to be sufficient enough. You're going to need to expose yourself to that situation. Now, there are a few different ways that you can expose yourself, and one of the least, I guess, at least impactful ways to the fear, but I guess is kind of the baby step for a lot of people, is what's called imagery. Or you're exposing you're exposing yourself to the feared event or object in your mind, and so you're thinking about it first, and you're helping your body kind of decrease its reaction in your brain without the real situation before you then get to the real situation. So there is some utility to that. But you're not just going through this class, this online course on high performance, to do just the minimum to be able to move through fear. You're here because you want to know how to get from point A to point Z in the shortest amount of time possible. And so that's not going to be a treatment or a focus on fear where you just think about it. You're going to have to act in those events when you are where you are fearful. And most specifically, I want you to focus on the fear that you have around the behaviors and the habits that we've already talked about, or any ones that we talk about in the future, or that you might get through coaching. I want you to recognize those fears that are impacting and getting in the way of moving to that next step. Fear of spiders. Okay, that's a common one, or a fear of, some sort of animal or bug. Is that worth spending a lot of time and energy on? Is that really going to interfere with your ability to be a high performer? It might, but probably not. So those are not the kinds of fears that I'm talking about. The kinds of fears I'm talking about are fears around talking with people, social fears, relational fears, fears about being criticized or being ostracized. Those are the kinds of fears that I've seen in other people, and honestly, I've seen in myself, that get in my own way of my best high performance. I mean, I'll tell you, what is one of my biggest fears that I constantly come up on? It's the fear of being evaluated by other people. You know, for whatever reason, we can look back at my childhood, how I was raised, all the different experiences I had, being picked on and teased in school and whatever. All of those things, yes, they combine to the point where I am, I think, overly concerned with being evaluated by other people. But for whatever reason it happened, that doesn't matter. It is what it is now, and that's my experience. And so, what I have to do now is I have to recognize, a lot of times I try to think about this in advance of a situation, prep myself, remind myself of who I am, what I'm capable of, that it doesn't matter if other people don't approve, or if other people think, what I said was silly or stupid, or if I feel awkward. All of those things don't matter. What matters is I am able to move towards my goals, how I feel like God has wired me, that I'm able to move towards the impact that I feel like God has laid on my heart, that I can have on other people, and I'm hoping that I have on you. That is what matters. Not the stupid things my brain tells me about how other people might perceive me. That's just ridiculous to spend my time and energy on that. Yet I find myself doing that. So that is one of the fears that I have, one of the things that potentially holds me back, and it does hold me back, absolutely holds me back. But my job as a high performer is to minimize that, and hopefully at some point I can completely erase it. I don't know if that will ever happen, but as long as I can work on minimizing it as I go every day in every situation, uh, that's the best I can ask of myself. And I feel like I count myself successful when I do that. So those are the kinds of fears that I want you guys to really notice and pinpoint in your own life. And again, going back to what is the single most thing that you can do to improve your fear? And that is exposure, exposing yourself to the situations, the events, and the people that elicit that anxiety, that fear in you. Work through them. That's where you need your courage. Have courage to get in the situation and to move through it. I would love to hear about your guys' success in the moment that you're having fear, how you're demonstrating courage to yourself and other people, and the results of that. There is nothing, I don't think there is anything in the world more motivating than seeing people act through courage. I would love to hear about it. Let's share them with each other and bring encouragement to each other.